Straight ahead on 12 News, a closer look at job openings, who's hiring, and what the current jobs picture means for wages. Plus, honoring Barway, dozens of mourners pay tribute to the young, polite boy with the smile. But first, new details on the officer-involved shooting that led to a young woman facing felony assault charges. 12 News starts right now. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. Today, police released the name of the officer involved in last Thursday's shooting outside a Robbinsdale apartment complex.
Robbinsdale Police Sergeant Thomas Rothfork shot 18-year-old Tania Harris after police say she chased another woman with a large knife. Rothfork has been a member of the Robbinsdale Police Department since 1995. The Hennepin County Attorney's Office eventually charged Harris with a second-degree felony assault, but the incident has raised questions about whether the officer needed to shoot Harris. Delane Cleveland joins us now with more. Delane?
Mike and Alex, tempers flared last week when word spread that Robbinsdale police shot Harris rather than using a taser, for example, to stop her. People in the law enforcement community who train officers how to react in those instances say it's a challenging situation.
Usually you have to make a decision in about 1.5 seconds, and that's quick. And you're trying to decide, is somebody's life in danger? Is my life in danger? Is there public around that could get hurt if I shoot somebody? So all of this has to go through your mind, and policies and procedures and constitutional law, and do it quickly.
Mylan Masson is director of the law enforcement program at Hennepin Technical College. She says officers are trained to stop the threat, whichever way that may be, to prevent others from being harmed. According to the criminal complaint, witnesses say Tania Harris chased a woman while carrying a large knife. Harris also shouted that she was going to kill the woman being chased. The complaint says that Sergeant Rothfork ordered Harris to stop and drop the knife, but fired twice after Harris failed to slow down and drop her weapon. Harris survived and is now in jail on assault charges. Meantime, some people have raised questions about whether the sergeant's actions were excessive, but Masson says he was probably using his best judgment to stop the threat.
You can use force with your own hands. You can use force with another type of weapon, maybe an ass baton or your taser. But when it gets in a higher situation like that, you can't pull your taser out fast enough in order to shoot the person to stop them, and will that even stop them? We know that a gun will stop them.
Today, Robbinsdale Police Chief Jim Franzen told me that the county is still investigating Sergeant Rothfork's role in the shooting, so he can't comment on the incident until the investigation is complete. He did, however, say that Rothfork is still on leave this week, but is expected to come back to work next week. Meanwhile, Mike and Alex, if Harris is convicted for the assault, she could face a maximum sentence of 7 years in prison and a $14,000 fine.
All right.
All right, thanks,
Thanks,
you, Delane.
Delane.
Yep.
The U.S. Attorney's Office announced today that it has arrested and charged 6 Somali men from Minnesota who were trying to join a terrorist group abroad. The FBI made 4 of the arrests Sunday in Minneapolis and 2 arrests in San Diego. U.S. Attorney Andrew Luger says the 6 men have spent the last year actively trying to leave the country and join ISIL in Syria, despite being stopped by law enforcement several times.
They were not confused young men. They were not easily influenced. These are focused men who are intent on joining a terrorist organization by any means possible.
Luger says their case is bolstered by audio recordings from one of the men who was originally taking part in the plan but had a change of conscience and went to the FBI. Luger said terror recruiting is a continuous problem here in Minnesota, and in the past few years, several men have left to fight with terror groups, including 2 former students from Robbinsdale's Cooper High School.
As we went to air Monday evening, we were awaiting the identity of a man who drowned Sunday night in a Plymouth swimming pool. It happened at the indoor pool at the Plymouth Square Apartments. Paramedics tried to revive the man, but their attempts were unsuccessful. Authorities say the man was in his 30s and lived at the complex. A 16-year-old boy drowned in the same pool last spring. After that happened, the Plymouth Fire Department held a water safety demonstration at the Plymouth Square Apartments in an attempt to prevent future drownings.
There were songs, prayers, and poems this weekend to honor Crystal 4th grader Barway Collins. More than 100 people attended a community and family vigil Saturday outside the Cedarwood Apartments where the boy lived. There was also a vigil Sunday at North Mississippi Regional Park. One by one, more than a dozen community leaders addressed the crowd and demanded justice for Barway.
We as a community supposed to be protector of our children. There is a special place in hell for whoever did this gruesome act.
I think our children have been traumatized from this, and they need to be assured. And let's just examine ourselves. I've always maintained that once information is withheld, we just create room for more disaster. We should be able to share information with law enforcement the soonest the better.
The boy's father, Pierre Collins, is in custody, police custody, charged with second-degree murder. Barway's stepmom, Yama Collins, did attend Saturday's vigil but did not speak. A funeral for Barway Collins will be held at Shiloh Temple in North Minneapolis on a date yet to be announced. A wake will also occur at a yet-to-be-named Liberian church.
Meanwhile, funeral services are set for an assistant principal at Jackson Middle School. A memorial service for John Kappers will be held this Sunday at 6 p.m. at First Lutheran Church of Crystal in Brooklyn Park. Kappers died unexpectedly last week. Before becoming an assistant principal, Kappers spent years at Jackson Middle School teaching social studies. He was also a coach for the Champlain Park football team. Kappers is survived by his wife and daughter.
Osseo area schools joined the city of Brooklyn Park to hold a discussion on a topic that's sometimes difficult to touch, a discussion on race. At Hennepin Technical College over the weekend, it was the second annual Forum on Race. The keynote speaker hopes events like this will help people to develop courage and engage in dialogue with others they may not have spoken with before. Her objective is to break down biases and prejudices we may have been conditioned to believe.
It's so important for us to begin the process of taking what we learn and actually doing something with it. So going back to your communities and starting small and paying attention to the things that impact us every day.
We're 49% white students in Osseo and 51% students of color. So every day in our schools, you see young people of different races sitting alongside each other, learning, of course, reading, writing, and arithmetic, but also learning about each other.
Osseo students actually acted as table facilitators for the adults who participated at this year's forum. Osseo school officials expect to hold another talk about race next year.
Heads up for drivers traveling through Plymouth. There is another road closure related to the I-494 construction. County Road 47 is now closed near I-494. The closure will last until late May. It's necessary as crews reconstruct the south side of 494 over County Road 47. Westbound traffic is being detoured to Northwest Boulevard and then to Bass Lake Road. The detour for eastbound traffic is County Road 101 and then Bass Lake Road. Still ahead, a changing jobs picture. We get perspective from a Maple Grove staffing firm.
Then later in sports, Maple Grove scores a big early season win in girls lacrosse to remain unbeaten. We'll have the highlights.
But first, a dramatic change in the forecast. It might be wise to cover or bring your plants inside tonight.
Despite 1,700 layoffs last month at Target, the employment picture in Minnesota is a bright one.
The state added 7,800 jobs last month, and Minnesota's unemployment rate of 3.7% is well below the national rate of 5.5% for March. In this week's Business Matters report, there is a good indication that future job gains and wage increases are on the horizon in the state. Here's a look at why.
Certainly the job market is trending very well right now.
There's very good reason to listen carefully to what Ted Chalupsky has to say about Minnesota's job market.
A lot of corporate companies now are coming to us to basically say, hey, help us find people.
With more than 30 years experience in the professional staffing business, Chalupsky has a direct line into several hundred companies. And here's the takeaway.
When we start to see these middle to senior positions starting to open up on a direct hire basis, that's when you know that the trend will continue to go upwards.
Growing confidence in the economy is leading to job gains, especially in industries such as manufacturing and medical device, as well as financial services as the real estate market picks up. And as more jobs are created and the labor pool shrinks, wage increases follow.
An assembly or manufacturing job about a year ago was paying anywhere from $10 to $11 an hour. Now we're looking at $12 to $15 an hour just for those positions.
Chalupsky says while the implementation of the Affordable Care Act has led some companies to take a wait-and-see approach over the last few years by hiring contract or temporary workers, that's starting to change too.
On average, we're seeing about 40% of the people that we place on temporary contract assignment being transitioned into full-time positions within 3 to 6 months of those assignments. And that trend continues to accelerate now as the economy continues to get better.
If you're considering a job search, experts recommend having a good up-to-date LinkedIn profile and seek out some professional advice on putting together a resume. Coming up, Viva Italia. We'll show you the rare Italian opportunity for a New Hope student.
But first in sports, Armstrong's baseball team comes from behind to beat an old rival. John Jacobson has that and more when we come back. Good pitching, good baseball, and a fun game for fans to watch. One team comes from behind and takes it.
It was a good turnout at Cooper the other day, and great game to sit down and watch. Robbinsdale District rivals Armstrong and Cooper have scheduled games against each other in baseball the past couple of seasons, only to see the games rained out and not made up. And this year, the weather cooperated, though, as Armstrong paid a visit to Cooper. The Hawks will strike first in the second inning. Garrett Jr. delivers a hit down the left field line for a double. Trey Rooney had also doubled, scores for a 1-0 lead. Same inning, and Will Young goes the other way, dropping in a hit down the line and right. He reaches second on a double. Jr. scores. The Hawks get one more in the frame and take a 3-0 lead. But Armstrong comes back, down 3-1 in the fifth inning. Pinch hitter Jack Wibben drives a fly ball to deep right. Mitchell Verbatim scores on Wibben's double, and it's 3-2. Next batter, Lucas Wenzel slaps a hit to right. The score, Wibben. The Falcons get the bats going to tie it up at 3 through 5 innings. We move to the seventh inning. Cooper trying to escape a jam, but Wenzel comes through, bouncing it past and drawing an infield to score 2 runs and give Armstrong a 5-3 lead. Sophomore Jarek Kuznia in his varsity debut throws 3 shutout innings in relief for Armstrong, and they rally to win it 5-3. In softball, Hopkins and Wayzata usually have some pretty good matchups. Their first regular season meeting this spring did not turn out to be a close one. Wayzata hosting Hopkins, first of 2 regular season games between the teams. Top of the first, bases loaded with 2 outs. Brenna Falk hitting one deep to the fence and right. Clearing the bases, 3 runs in, and the Royals lead it 3-0. Sixth inning, Michelle Genther turning on that pitch and drives it deep. Falk and Allie Reese scores to make it 5-0 Hopkins. Lauren Fegler tosses a complete game shutout on the circle for Hopkins, and the Royals win it by a final score of 8-0. The Armstrong and Maple Grove girls lacrosse teams both reached the state tournament a year ago. The Falcons and Crimson were matched up in a key Northwest Suburban Conference game. Highlights from the first half. Maple Grove's Tina Campa scores from the free position to put the Crimson up 2-1. The Falcons' Claire O'Donnell passes ahead to Haley Holdall. She scores her second goal of the game, and it's 3-2. This game would be tied 3-3 at halftime. Second half, Lauren Kaufman nets her second goal of the game, coming from behind the Falcons' net to shoot and score, breaking the 3-all tie. Crimson goalie Coco Francis comes up with some big saves on this night, including this one on Ann Colwell, keeping the Crimson in front. Kaufman will get an assist here, passing out front to Paige Nasco for the shot and goal, and the Crimson is up 6-3. The Falcons get back to within a goal. Colwell with a long run, shoots and scores. Armstrong is down just 6-5. But the Crimson hold and extend the lead. Haley Herdine to Kaufman, and that's Maple Grove's 8th goal of the game. Crimson win 8-5, and they remain unbeaten on the season. We'll have our first lacrosse game telecast of the spring this week on Channel 12 Sports. Monday night, our crew is at Park Center High School as the Osseo Park Center boys Host Armstrong. Watch it live on the web at 12.TV or catch the replay Tuesday night at 7 o'clock on Channel 12. Thursday, it's a late conference doubleheader as Hopkins hosts Wayzata. Watch the girls live on the web at 5:30, and it replays Friday night at 7 o'clock on 12. Watch the boys live at 12.TV at 7:30 Thursday and catch the replay here on TV Saturday morning at 10 or Saturday evening at 7 o'clock. So even though the weather might be a little cold, they will play lacrosse in the cold and rain, and kids are tough.
All right. Thanks, John. Still ahead, a New Hope student's unique opportunity abroad.
We catch up with Emma Berg and what makes her trip to Italy truly special when we come back.
It is the trip of a lifetime for a New Hope student who is on her way to Italy.
Emma Berg is a student ambassador to the World Expo in Milan. It's a 3-month-long experience representing the U.S.
As a student ambassador at the USA Pavilion in Milan, I would use my passion for intercultural understanding, along with my communication skills, to make those connections between my fellow ambassadors in the global community.
It was this video, first in English,
Ed è stata una scelta ottima.
then in Italian, that helped get Cooper High School student Emma Berg chosen as an ambassador to the World Expo in Italy.
I'm so excited to be able to be a part of this. The World's Fair is happening in Milan this year, and the U.S. decided to have their pavilion be run by undergrad students.
She is one of 120 students chosen to work at the U.S. Pavilion for 3 months, telling visitors from around the world about sustainable food production in the United States. We caught up with her via phone at the airport.
I think that our food systems definitely have a big impact on the world, and I want to be able to show the rest of the world in Italy that the U.S. is working as hard as we can to help feed the planet, and that we are making some great steps towards doing that.
Emma says it's an honor to be the face of America to visitors who will come to the World's Fair from all over the globe.
I'm definitely nervous. I feel like they prepared us pretty well. This is something where I can maybe make an impact or do something, help be a part of something bigger.
This is actually her second trip to Italy. She was an exchange student during her junior year at Cooper High School through the Rotary Club. She hasn't graduated yet, but has been taking college classes. In fact, it was an Italian course that connected her with this event. So,
Opportunity?
yeah, really a cool opportunity.
Looks like she'll be a great ambassador, too.
That'll do it. That's it for now. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
We'll see you back here tomorrow at 4. Community Corner is coming up next.